Hey everybody, welcome back to Fab Daddy Garage TV. I am your host, Fab Daddy. As you can see, I'm here with Buford, and we are going to start working on him again. Well, I am anyways. You can watch me work on it. I appreciate you watching me work on it. Anyway, I'm getting ready to start on part of it that I've been putting off since this summer. I've had the parts to do, well, most of the parts to do it since this summer, the main part anyway. We'll get to that in a little bit, but basically what we're doing is I'm working on getting the engine wired. I have a new wiring harness to put on. I'll cover all that here a little bit later in this video, but just wanted to get started on it here. It's October 25th. As you can see, it's a very beautiful day outside today. In the next shot, you'll probably see me with a different hat on because this was a little warm. But anyway, it's October 26th. I gave myself until the end of November to get him started and running. Probably won't be moving and driving, so I still have to get drive shaft and everything, transmission cross member built. But we're going to try to get him running here by the end of next month. If I get it done before that, we'll move on to the next step. But anyway, hang with me for just a second. I'll get you set up on the tripod and we'll start working. And we're back. And as you can see, I changed my hat. You may be asking, Fab Daddy, where do you start on rewiring your engine? I'm starting with the air intake. Figured it's an obvious spot. No, actually, the reason I'm starting with that is because I have to figure out where this is going to live. And this is your mass airflow sensor. This measures how much air is coming into the engine so it can adjust fuel properly. Pretty sure this also reads the temperature of the incoming air. So with this engine, the original 454 here on top of the engine had big round air cleaner and a carburetor. Since this is fuel injected, it doesn't have a carburetor on it. So I got on some forums and stuff and was looking, and a lot of people are just using aftermarket cold air intakes. So I got one that fit the model of truck that the engine came out of. As you see, I got the black tube. It's aluminum. It's pretty nice. Comes with silicone. Came with the silicone 90. Came with a straight piece. And it came with a black, basically a generic cone style air filter on it. The problem is trying to get this to fit. I tried all different kinds of setups. Going here, because the problem is over here. Lean you in so you can see. Over here we have the heater hose that's getting in the way, and this part of it has to be really low, because when you shut the hood comes to like right here. So this has to be really low. I just never got this to fit where I wanted. And more important, actually part of the problem is because this is backwards. It's supposed to go on like this. This is how it's supposed to fit in the other truck. This sits up too high. Although actually now that I'm looking at it, if I were to go like this, maybe cut that bracket off, and it's still going to be in the way. The hose is still going to be in the way. So I could never get this to fit right. It wasn't anything that the manufacturer did wrong or anything. It just didn't fit right. So I went back to the main article I read. I was reading about this, doing this swap, and he said to get a stock intake tube off of a truck and put it in there. So I went out and I found one on Facebook. This is what's left of it. I've kind of, as you can see, I've hacked it up. This used to fit right here, and then so it went like this off the intake, right? This part went on the throttle body. This was attached to here, which this end then attached to, I've got too many parts laying around, attached to the filter box. Now this piece, actually, this little silicone piece actually came with the aftermarket intake, but it works on here. But this would fit on here. Actually, the mass airflow would fit in there, like so, maybe. Anyway, you get how that would fit. And then this would go right there. Problem is, and he said, the article said that it would mount right here in this spot. The problem is, or was, it's no longer a problem because I've already taken it apart, The problem with that was, work with me. This piece, again, if you had it where it was supposed to be, to get it lined up with this, where it would sit, it would come through, it'd miss the heater hose, like, you know, but then this was too high and the hood would smash it. So what do you do then? I went back to the article, and the one he had, the intake tube he had, was out of a different truck, and it fit the same, but this was flat. It had been molded to fit under a lower hood. Something else I had to change is, if you remember, the battery tray used to be on this side. There was a battery tray and the there we're going by his golf cart. Battery tray and the radiator overflow tank were right here. Ended up taking those out. And as you can see, I went ahead and made, and kind of hope you can see, sorry. Went ahead and made a couple brackets. This bracket here is just bolted to, actually, the original battery tray bolt there. This bracket was just flat stock that I bent this little angle into to get it to the right height, and it bolted into the original battery tray bolt. And then it just angles down. Man, can you see it? Man, I lost track of where I'm looking. It angles down to right here, and it'll bolt to the bottom of the fender. If you're asking what happened to the battery tray, I got a new left side tray, and it's over here, right down in here. Well, you can see it. Rizzo! Dog barking at squirrels. And that's where the new battery, the ECU, the transmission control unit, and the TAC will go. So hang on, let me go get my dogs to quit barking. Okay, they're quiet for now. I'm going to take a drink. Where was I? Oh yeah, so I made the brackets on this side for this bracket to fit into. What this is, this holds the air box. So with the battery box, or the battery tray out of the way, I can lower this down. Get out of here, squirrel. Crazy squirrels are coming right up to the truck. And so you can see, that tray fits right there. The air box will go right there, and then we'll work on the tubing. So hang on. Get in there. All right, so the air box fits by this tab here, fits into that little slide part right there in the corner, like so. You slide it in, and then these two little legs here and here fit in that hole and that hole. Now there's rubber bushings that go in there. I just took them out because I'm putting this thing in and out so much. I didn't want to tear up the bushings. So once we get this in place, oh, come on. Just have to drill the holes. I've been doing a lot of trial fitting, trying to get it all to work out where it's supposed to. But anyway, so this goes in. You know what? I'm going to do it the other way. Sorry. Slide that in, put that there. You can see where the holes go. All right. That's approximately, not pretty close. That's approximately where that box is going to live. And as you can see, it actually fits pretty well. I think it looks pretty good. If you remember earlier in one of my other videos, I talked about how I'd kind of try to make this engine look stock in this truck. It's kind of why it's dirty and dingy, because the truck's dirty and dingy. So, but anyway, to me, that kind of looks like it fits. I mean, that is how a stock box would fit. So the next question is, how do I get the tubing from the throttle body to the airbox? So here's what I did. I took, if you remember, this wouldn't fit under the hood. It's too high. So I got rid of that. And the reason this is all hacked up is because this was actually permanently molded onto there that way. And it actually, if I could have gotten this low enough, get on there. it actually would have lined up. As you can see, it's actually pretty close to matching up with that. I would have just needed a little, probably not even a 45-degree silicone boot, and I could have hooked it up. The problem is this sits too high. And once I got that rotated down to there, we were running into the back of the radiator. So take that off, get rid of that. Then we take our silicone boot from our air tube here. I got to remember how I did this because I don't, it's been a while. Is it there? Not sure that's how it goes. Okay. So instead of running the tube up and over like so, right? Which I almost could have got this to work if I'd had the right fittings, but this was going to be up too high. I would have had to have all kinds of different boots and stuff like that. So we're going to flip it over. We're going to run it this way, like so. See, I kind of, it's low enough that the hood will miss. I'm going to obviously cut this bracket off, clean up the weld, take this bracket off, cut off the weld because I won't need it. And then this, I just remember, flows that way. So this goes in here, like so. At least it's supposed to. There we go. And then this, remember that boot I told you about that came with this kit? It's on here. So that lets us put, yes, I am always this awkward, not just when I'm on camera. So that boot lets us put the mass airflow sensor on. Rotate this. Oh, it will fit. I swear it will. I'll make it fit. So get that where it goes. And we're still kind of hitting the heater hose. I haven't figured that part out yet, but we're better. So then this will go on here. So all I have to do, I may end up scooching this back just a little bit to kind of give us a little more clearance. So now what I have to do is figure out how long this pipe needs to be, because it obviously needs to be cut down. So yeah, that's not going to work because that's hitting. Tell you what, customizing vehicles is no job for sissies. So if we scooch that back, problem is then we lose the hole there. And there, will that work? Then are we up too high? No. So that fits. That will still kind of fit. Okay, I think we have a game plan. It's going to take some finagling, but what that does, even if I don't have this 100% where I want it yet, it gives me a general area of where the mass airflow sensor is, so I know where to run the wiring, or if it needs to come around this way, or how it's supposed to go. So anyway, stick around. The next shot, or the next part, will hopefully have all of this cut up, mounted, and in its general area of where it's supposed to be, and then we'll throw a wiring harness on it. Stick around. All right, guys, so it's been about an hour since the last section of the video, and I'm going to show you progress I've made. So here it is. I think this is basically how it's going to fit. If you notice, the box is now further back. I may have to open up the holes in the fender back there a little bit just to make sure it's getting enough air, because that is one of the problems with this 8.1 engine, is has problem moving air in. I have headers on it to help get the air out. But anyway, so here we go. As you can see, it all fits back. That line, the hose is pretty straight. Got a little bit of And I'm back. It's a couple days later. Made some changes, but I'll go ahead and show you what I got. So here it is. Here's the basic setup. Got the air box in, intake tube, 90-degree elbow, all that stuff. So if you remember correctly, I had it mounted on, I had the box mounted on its little plate that it was supposed to fit in on some bracketry under here. And if you can tell, all that's gone, and I put the battery tray back in because I just couldn't get the tray and all the bracketry to line up where I wanted it. And as you can see, I have it far enough back that the heater hose, where it's touching the intake tube, it's not in the way. The overflow tube is there, which goes to the stock overflow tank. Because the box was so far back, I was thinking to myself, I wonder if I can get that tank to fit. Then I was trying to figure out how I was going to mount it. And I took some measurements, and I found that the metal plate that the airbox sat in was the same height off the bottom of the fender as the stock battery tray on that side. So I pulled everything back out, put the battery tray back in, put the airbox and everything on it. Well, it sat too high with its plate on the bottom of it. So I took the plate off, set the airbox back in, and it was real close to fitting. So what I did, hang on, I'm going to take all this apart so I can do it without knocking it all over. Take the intake tube off. Now, so you can see that foot on the, not sure what's going on with my camera here. Oh, everything okay? Okay, I've set some setting on my camera. Anyway, so as you can see, this foot here is actually in one of the rubber grommets, and I'll show you what I did. If I can get the box out. All right, so get the box out. What I ended up doing was I figured out where that foot was supposed to sit. I drilled out a hole, put the rubber bushing on it, and that's where that foot goes. And then this hole is where this piece, which is what I slid into that little slot on the old tray, fits down in there. And I had to trim off the back here. This is where this had like the lip on it where the battery would fit underneath. And then I took off a little bit on this edge for this area here to fit. Now, this foot does not, this foot doesn't have anything sit in because it's over here outside the tray. So I may add a tab on here eventually to put that other rubber grommet. So, but anyway, let's throw it back together. It's kind of difficult to do one-handed, but we'll manage. Let's see where that one goes. Back foot in there. Hang on, I'm gonna have to set the camera down. Oh yeah. Joys doing things by yourself one-handed. Alright, I'm going to put you down for just a second so you can watch me struggle. Not sure if you can see anything. Usually it's not this hard to put in, but like I said, I'm trying to do it one-handed. Of course, the grommet popped out. We'll put it back in real quick. See, you want it to be some way. Grommet's in. Pop, there it is. So I actually probably could have seen a lot of that. So we'll turn that there. Put our intake tube, which as you can see, I ground down that weld that was on here that had that long, weird bracket that was on here. This other weld here, I'm going to go grind that down. Then I'm probably, can I widen out a little bit? No, that's all the wider I get. So I'm probably going to go ahead. Not real wild about the way this looks. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't really match the rest of the truck. So I'm probably going to sand it down, paint it like flat gray or flat black or something. May eventually 3D print something to make it look like a stock intake. So anyway, so there we go. There is the completed airbox and intake tube modification. Obviously, you need to do some touch-up paint and do some stuff down here on the spot that's all the spots on the ground. But like I said, so now I have the stock washer fluid, or not washer fluid tank, engine overflow tank in place. So that's good. I think overall, I think it looks pretty stock for the truck. Kind of fits the I don't know, fits the vision of the build, I guess. So anyway, there we are. Hope you guys come back for the next section when I will actually show you the, I don't know why I'm talking not into the camera. So I hope you guys come back the next section to where I'll show you the actual wiring harness I have to put in, and we'll get started on that. So we'll see you then. Stick around.